Hey, welcome back. And so the last time I kind of talked about that tiny house that I built, and just figured I would come by here, do a little tour. What you can do when, for very little, about, like I said, it was around $27,000 that it cost me to build this place. Let's say some upkeep things and different things like that. Let's say it was maybe another 2 or 3,000. Other things we bought, furnishings, all that. Here's the loft. And turn around and show you the stairs. Obviously, it's a tiny house, so the stairs are not, they're a little more compressed than they would be otherwise. But yeah, this is what you get for $27,000 when you build it yourself. I even had a porch out here. I would have made this an indoor portion, but I wasn't able to because the porch doesn't actually count as living space. So I had to stay within a certain legal limit of the size. But it's a really nice porch, and I'll show you the mountains. It is in a friend's RV park, so this was the one legal way for me to do that. But you can see it's a pretty nice tiny house, at least I think so. And my wife did a great job designing and helping figure out how to make everything look all nice and pretty in here. But overall, I think it's pretty amazing what you're able to do when you don't have a whole bunch of restriction on you. And this was one way to do that for me and for us. And so just going back to that sort of question of what is freedom, what's that look like, and then how you're going to take the initiative to move on from that. Like, I was hampered by not being able to build before. Like I said, I wanted to put affordable housing on the land that I own, and wasn't allowed to do that. But I thought, okay, what's another way that I could make some money and provide some value to the community? And this was another way. You bring in more people, having more places for people to stay in a tourist town like we live in. And then they spend money at restaurants. They spend money at outdoor adventure businesses. They spend money all over the place through here, and they love to do that. They enjoy it. But we also benefit a little bit from that as well, so do local businesses. So, hey, if you have any pull or have any ability to get the affordable housing set up and get some of those laws changed, that would be great. But as of now, this is kind of what I have, and I just wanted to give a little overview of what that looks like and what it can look like for a pretty reasonable price. And it's the size of a small apartment. So people should be able to build something nice like this if you really take the time and effort. And I'm not, I haven't worked in construction my whole life or anything, but I've done a good amount of, remodels helping people, but that was all, here, do this, here, check this. Okay, I didn't know the design or understanding of all that, but it took me about 10 years of YouTube University or so, whatever you want to call it, to figure out how do building science principles work? What are the basic principles of how to construct something and put it together and make sure it's, strong enough and it's insulated enough and all that. So it did take some time, took some effort, but I was able to figure it out. I was able to do it and have a pretty decent end result and product. So if you ever decide to build a tiny house, build your own house, build your own shed even, whatever, I think it's a really rewarding experience and it's worth doing. So if you stay tuned here, I'm going to go ahead and go through a quick slideshow of the whole building process of the tiny house. I am well aware that a slideshow does not do it justice and is not YouTube friendly, but I wasn't making videos back then, so this is the best I've got. So as you can see, you kind of started out with an empty mobile home trailer frame, framed it up underneath, insulated it, made a nice platform for building everything. This build actually ended up taking me about a year and a half in terms of the actual time it took me. But if you added up all the months and full-time building together, I'd call it maybe 7 or 8 months max. And I was doing this for the first time without a blueprint or anything like that. So you could do it a lot faster. I could definitely do it faster a second time around. So as you can see, kind of framed it up, put in some lead embraces there, made sure it was very, very strong because it had to be up on a trailer. But I also needed to make it light. So did some girts across just like you would for a pole building. Put under all the Tyvek or wind guard. Then in between we insulated and made sure we actually had good insulation all the way around the building. A normal 2x4 wall is about R13, I believe, is the minimum. Someone could correct me if that's wrong. But these walls actually ended up being about R15 for this 2x4 wall. As you can see, putting on some sheathing siding, a little bit of both together there. Took many, many months into the winter. Got windows and doors and all that in place. You can also see I'm building a deck off of the backside, which you'll see later, and I know you saw in the video as well. We ended up painting it white and doing black trim. So there's sort of the shell of everything. You can kind of see where it comes as a finished product that you saw at the beginning of the video. Then we start to move to the inside here in just a little bit. And like I said, all this was just a blueprint in my own head for the most part. I drew a few things, but I put a nice little barn rail system going across for the doors that go into the bathroom and into the bedroom area. Then I put a loft up right over there, that sliding door. You can see all the plumbing's put in place into the walls. Had to make sure it was insulated so none of that froze. We're at 8,000 feet here up in the mountains, so it does get pretty cold. There you can see all the plumbing. Kind of had to learn how to put in all the plumbing for an entire house. I hadn't done that from start to finish before, so I did end up doing that here. I'd done a good amount of electric and wiring and messing around with that before, so have a pretty good amount of experience, not a ton, but enough to know what I'm doing. And I checked it with my friend who is an electrician just to make sure that I was thinking about the correct thing and doing it right. There you can see we got the floors in. We did a vinyl laminate floor just because it's nice, looks nice, it's waterproof, all those things. So it's starting to come together here a little bit, as you can see, and we're framing up doors, getting those sliding barn doors in place, painting them. Then you can see we're starting to put together some of the cabinets. It was kind of a tricky cabinet setup. I've built a decent amount of cabinets before, but I was trying out a new system with this, and it did work pretty well, but it took a little bit to get it balanced. You can see we put in the bathroom here, put in the shower insert, put that nice big round head pan, started getting an actual vent up in there in the bathroom as well. You can see we're putting in drawers for the cabinets here. It's starting to come together. And you can see the kitchen and then the two doors, everything kind of falling into place. It's a giant mess for a while. My wife did a great job painting those cabinets as well. She's done multiple other cabinets I've built and painted them as well. The bathroom's starting to come together. You can still see there's no ceiling at this point, but we do get a nice tongue and groove in there later. You can see the stairs. They're kind of awkwardly shaped. It's a tiny house, so you kind of have to compress everything. There you go. You're starting to get a little bit more of a feel of what it looks like in the long term, what it looks like now as we're renting it out to people. There's the loft. We do actually have a single queen bed up in that loft now instead of the two twin beds you see here. The bathroom starting to come together. You can see that tongue and groove ceiling. Really brings it together, makes everything look nice. Also, if you're ever interested in renting this out here, I'll put a link to the rental in the description below. If you're interested, there is a potential where you can just book that through us. So let us know, and hope you enjoy this video. I know it wasn't an actual video process and it was just pictures, But hopefully it gives you an idea. I wish I could have made this into a video series because it would have been a really good video series to put together and would have been interesting to see the whole process. All right, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed.